How is everyone doing? This is Joe with Ohio Woodburner. Today's video, guys, I'm going to be showing you how we heat our house for free. For free. All it took was developing a hobby of firewood, turning that hobby into a business, and using all of the scrap and waste that comes from firewood production to go into our outdoor wood furnace. So stick around this whole video. I'm showing you how this thing works and how we get free heat. Today, it's an unseasonably warm day, and I am getting the Hardy fired up for the year. Can you see smoke coming out the stack? It is, I'll turn this around. The water in the tank is right now it's under 50 degrees, and it is at operating between 150 and 170, so it has a long way to go. So when I fire this up for the first time of the year, I make it an all-day process, and I bring the temperature up slow because, you know, the first time that pump kicks on, you know, it's cold, and then it gets a rush of, you know, 170 degree water, and I'm afraid of something breaking. So I start my fire and let the temperature come up gradually. I'll shut the doors and shut everything and just let the heat soak into it, and then I'll come back out later to do it. But this is the firebox. So the walls are the water jacket, and this is a 200-gallon tank of water that surrounds this firebox. Maybe this will help you get better scale. This is my poking stick here. Yeah. So this is water jacket on all sides of it, and then underneath it is the ash bin. And sure as when the season ends, you know, I always say, man, I'm gonna like do a real good job and clean everything out, and I never do. I just leave everything in. It's all stainless steel, so I figured it ain't gonna hurt anything. So this is how I got my start with firewood, was this outdoor wood furnace. This is a Hardy H2. You know, there's a whole bunch of different makes and models of outdoor wood furnaces, and this one really is all analog stuff. There's nothing digital on it, and everything is just really simple things that you can get at the hardware store. You know, it has an aquastat, it has a low temperature safety switch, it has a blower motor for the, you know, it's an air it's a forced air firebox, and it has the water pump. So I'm touching this right now, and it's really cold. And, you know, once that temperature gets up to 170 degrees, when the pump kicks on for the first time, that's when I'm worried about breaking stuff. I don't have anything plugged in right yet. This is the plug for the water pump, and it runs through a relay which works in conjunction with the aquastat. When the temperature gets to 170 degrees, it shuts the blower motor off. So it should be, if this was plugged in right now, it would run. So let me plug it in and I'll show you. Okay, so it's going to be blowing forced air in there because our temperature is under 150 degrees. So when it gets to 150, the aquastat kicks on the blower motor, and that forces air and it fires up the fire. So when the furnace is at full temp, 170 degrees, it just sits. The firebox is choked down, and the fire goes out, but you know, the embers don't. And then when the temperature drops, that fan kicks on and it blows air and it stokes the flame, and then it brings the temperature back up. This Hardy though, guys, and all these outdoor wood furnaces, they work just like your car heater does in your car or your truck. It heats up hot water, and then it pumps it underground into the house, and there's a heat exchanger that sets on top of my forced air furnace in the basement, and the water circulates through that big, it looks just like a gigantic radiator, and the blower motor on the furnace in the house blows up through it. So there's really, inside of the house, there's no indication that you are heating with anything other than the furnace in the basement. And this is, you know how I am with numbers. I'm pretty sure this is year 16 with our outdoor wood furnace. And we have a toasty warm house, and this also heats the hot water, the domestic hot water inside of the house. So it works on a different loop than the water that's inside the tank. So you're not drinking the water that's in the tank. The water that's in the tank stays in there. It's a non-pressurized boiler. And you do get some evaporation loss, which comes out of this. This is a cooling stack. I can show it to you here. Okay, so there's your top, that's the top of the water level. And since it's non-pressurized, the water would come up into here, the steam does, I mean, and then it cools and drips back down. So you do get water loss. When the water temperature gets low, there's a float inside, that solenoid kicks on and it fills the tank up to full again, and then it shuts it back off. And this is an inspection door. And you can, this is the blower, you know, goes into here and blows air under the grates. I'll show you the other side. So this is, 50-year-old knees. So this is under the grates, and that's that trap door. So you keep that closed, and you know, the blower blows down through that channel, and it fires up the fire. So this fire isn't burning all the time. And if you're not using heat for the house, it just sits here and smolders. If it sits too long, you know, like a whole day, sometimes it'll go out. But normally, you know, that it can sit for a real long time. The temperature in this will drop to 150. That fan blows, kicks on and blows, and it stokes the fire back up until it brings it back up to temperature. And our temperature is getting close to 100. We're getting there. Once it gets to 100, I'll let it sit there. So the outdoor wood furnace is really slick, but I'm serious, it's not for everyone. If you have neighbors and you want to have peace in the world, this is probably not a good choice, because they do smoke. And you think about the prevailing winds, you know, here it blows out into the woods, but there are times too, you know, with different storm fronts coming in, the wind's blowing complete different direction, heading out to the closest neighbor. And it just makes me wonder, you know, if we lived in a close neighborhood, I don't think it's the right go. The other thing too, if you are the type where you're not home a lot, or if you travel for work, or if you travel and take vacations in the wintertime, this may not be the thing, because you just can't let these go out because they're full of water and they can freeze. There is a food grade glycol that you can put in some of these, and I've never had to deal with that because, you know, I guess the risk would be our pipe for the domestic hot water breaking inside and it picking up some of the tank water, which might be funky after a while. I don't know. I don't know if I'd want to be drinking it. But if the tank was filled with, you know, car antifreeze, all right, that's the risk is, okay, I could shut it down because then the water's not going to freeze and break the tank, but you're running the risk of that getting into your domestic water. I think the risk is low, but it is still, you know, you don't want to take that risk. So those, I think, are reasonable things to consider if you are thinking that you want to have an outdoor wood furnace. The other thing too about free heat, okay, I guess if you're not writing a check to pay a monthly bill, it's free, but it is not. All right, there is a lot of work that goes into it. So you have the cost of the machine to begin with, but you know, think of all of this. The wood thing was what was the biggest uh-oh for me, was I didn't realize it took this much wood. Fortunately, I came up with a plan, you know, and made friends with these farmers, and I was getting all my wood off of them. They would bulldoze it, I would go cut it up and bring it back. But there's a lot of work to it. And then, you know, if you are, I don't think this would make sense if you're buying your wood. So it's a policy that we had that all of our wood that goes into this furnace must be free. Now that was before Ohio Wood Burner, but you know, what I'm doing there is that all of those offcuts and the uglies that would otherwise go to waste, they're heating our house. So that's how we're heating this right now. The fact that I was able to purchase this one pretty cheap, I'm getting a spark come right by me. The fact that I was able to purchase this pretty cheap means that we had this paid for in the middle of our 3rd winter. So it's nice not having that gas bill. I'm serious. Our return on investment has been great with this thing, but it is a lifestyle. All right, it's not just the convenience anymore of just turning that dial on your thermostat inside the house because you're a little bit cold. It's a lot of work, but I think that's why we're all here, you know, because we enjoy firewood, we're passionate about it, and we enjoy doing it. So that's the outdoor wood furnace, guys. For me, at least with my firewood hobby, it all began with this. And many a night, you know, coming out here and looking at all this firewood and wondering what else I could do with it. This is where the beginnings of Ohio Wood Burner began. So you will be seeing a lot of this furnace all winter long. It's a daily routine for me. So I will show you with it in operation. But for now, we're just bringing it up the temperature, and we'll probably let it start heating the house tonight. All right. I hope you like this. Give me a thumbs up if you do. And everyone have a great day.